Over the years, Deontay Wilder has proven himself to be many things. He is a classless buffoon, a dishonest fool at times, and also a human windmill when he decides to be. But even despite the extremely cringy persona that he seems to have adopted over, the past couple of years, you can't deny that Deontay Wilder is a legitimate knockout puncher, but also a very brave man. Now, with the brave part, maybe even with both parts, a lot of people would take issue with that. But I stand by the claim that Wilder is a brave man, because there have been a few times where he's actually displayed his bravery. Most recently was in the Fury rematch. Now, I never saw any quit in Wilder. Yeah, he looked ragged, he looked ineffective, and he landed basically no meaningful punches. And really, in all honesty, if you want to sum that fight up, he got his ass handed to him. But me personally, I was hard pressed to find any signs in Wilder's body language, in his behavior, that he had any quit in him, and that he wanted out of the fight. And now, even the people that do agree with me in the belief that Wilder is a brave man, they will say that his bravery stems from his delusion. And now I agree with that, because Wilder is a deluded man. I think that is clear. The only people that would disagree with that are his fans, who are equally deluded, if not more so. But Wilder is a brave man, and he has heart. And regardless of where that heart comes from, where that bravery comes from, it's irrelevant, because his perception is one thing, but his real life actions, his real world actions are what really count. And he's obviously made the decision to pursue the trilogy fight with Wilder. And now, I should have prefaced this at the beginning, but this is not a prediction video or even an analysis. It's just simply my perspective on Wilder and how this fight may be his chance at redemption. Now, as I previously said, many of the criticisms leveraged at Wilder over the years are completely warranted, and they can be easily verified. It doesn't really take you that long to find out that in reality, when you look at it objectively, Wilder quite clearly prevented the Joshua fight, the unification, the Undisputed fight when he was still champion. On top of that, it's largely recognized now that he only picked Fury because he thought Fury would be an easy fight. And these are all perfectly legitimate criticisms. And as I say, they can be verified. But despite this, we're in the situation we are now, where Wilder is going back into the Fury trilogy fight. And when you put it into context, Wilder is going back into the ring with someone who beat him up, knocked him from pillar to post, completely battered him, embarrassed him, shattered his whole self-perception of him, his whole self-perception, his perception of himself. Wilder thought he was someone, and Fury proved him wrong. And that takes a lot of fortitude. It takes a lot of balls. And look, this may be a cash-out fight by Wilder, but even if it is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but he's still signing up for a potential cash-out fight against someone who cleaned him out. And Hatman, for example, has made this comparison a few times, and I think it's very legitimate. When it came to the Anthony Joshua Ruiz fight, and more so the Dillian Whyte Povetkin first fight, those two guys had a large stake in the fight. They were in control of the fight. Joshua had knocked Ruiz down once with a wicked, sequence of punches. He went in, he got greedy, he got caught, lasted a couple more rounds, was taken out. With Whyte, he knocked Povetkin down twice. Looked like Povetkin was out and was going to go at any minute, but instead it was Whyte who went. He got brutally knocked out. They made mistakes, even though they were in control of the fight. In that, the second Fury fight, Wilder had made no progress in the fight. He stepped through the ropes. There was never a point, where you thought this could go any way or Wilder's in control. It was really Fury the whole way. And I believe that fight went 7 rounds and Deontay Wilder mostly got battered for those 7 rounds. There was really no mercy from Fury. And that's the kind of fight that damages a fighter over the long haul. I don't want to say it's a career-ending fight, but it's the kind of fight where fighters never, they suffer a defeat like that and they never truly come back. Or if they do, it takes them a long time, year after year after year of rebuilding. And Wilder has signed up to fight the guy that did that to him. And so even though Wilder has caused massive frustration among boxing fans by blocking essentially the fight between Joshua and Wilder, let's not detract and, not give Wilder the credit that he deserves for taking the third Fury fight. Because Joshua got credit for rematching and beating Ruiz. Whyte got credit for rematching and beating Povetkin. And so if it's good enough for those guys, it's good enough for Wilder. Now look, Wilder might go into the Fury fight and the third fight that is, and get completely cleaned out, even quicker than he did in the second fight. But at the end of the day, Wilder has disappeared seemingly for a while. And now we're starting to get this training footage resurface. And this seems to be a guy who wants redemption. And he's seemingly willing to make improvements, at least physical training improvements, technical, tactical maybe. That remains to be seen, but at least from the perspective of, a member of the boxing public, it looks like he's trying to improve and he wants to redeem himself by taking on the person who beat him. And in my eyes, you deserve respect for that. Am I frustrated that the Undisputed fight is not happening? Of course. I'd much rather see AJ versus Fury go ahead, Wilder maybe fight some top contenders in the meantime. And then, if he looks good, if he warrants, if he earns a position to fight the winner of Joshua Fury, whichever way you want to coin it, then so be it. That's a perfectly reasonable sequence of events. But that's not what we have. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't give Wilder the credit that he deserves. Give him credit for taking the fight. If he beats Fury, you got to give him credit for that as well. Because, it takes a lot. And it's easy to dislike Wilder. Personally, from what I've seen as Wilder as a person, I'm not particularly keen. As a fighter, I like him. He's exciting. You can't deny his ability, even though sometimes you do catch him doing his best windmill impression. But that's besides the point. All I'm going to say is give Wilder the credit he deserves. Let's be fair, let's be objective. If it's good enough for AJ and Whyte, then it's good enough for Wilder. So yeah, that's just my musings on this situation that's going on. Is this Wilder's chance at redemption? I think he's on his way. He just has to actually do the business now. But yeah, if you guys have anything to say on this topic, just drop it down in the comments. If you like the video, thumbs up. And if you like the channel, subscribe. So nevertheless, thank you for listening, guys, and on to the next one.